free media is absolutely fundamental to democracy. It is our job to keep the world informed, but also to hold power to account and to reveal what's going on in the world. We all think we know what's going on, but without journalists digging away to uncover what's really going on, we're all really in the dark.
And do you feel a lot of responsibility as a senior figure in national news?
Well, there is a responsibility on our shoulders to be as accurate, as fair, as impartial, as revealing as we possibly can. So yes, we've got a lot of people watching what we do. There are 6 million people tuning into Channel 4 News every week, in my case, and across the broadcast media, it's half the country watching these outlets. And so yes, there is a huge responsibility on our shoulders to make sure that people know what's going on in this world. They understand what's going on with democracy. They understand what's going on with the government, that they see politicians and people in power, whether that's in business or in other institutions, held to account, held up to explain why things go wrong, when things go wrong. So yes, it is a responsibility. It's also a lot of fun.
Janice referenced your recent interview with Boris Johnson just last week. How hard is it to hold people, powerful people in the country, to account?
I think the key when you're doing interviews with really powerful people is just always to keep in mind what your job is, which is to ask the questions that people at home are shouting at the telly. And so if you always think of yourself as the person sitting at home shouting at the telly who doesn't care about being intimidated by anything, because they're not there, they're not being intimidated by anything, you will ask the right questions. And as long as you don't worry about who it is you're talking to, and you just think, well, what's the right question to ask here? What are people at home asking? Then you'll do the job okay.
And finally, what's your message for the students graduating today?
My message to this group of people is that they've been through a really terrible time, really, a really difficult time as students. Our hearts went out to them all, and they're emerging into this world that is really quite confused and that has been sort of in turmoil over all sorts of, I think, culture war issues that have probably left the world of work a slightly weird place to be. They're going to enter, workplaces where they are told, you're all a bunch of sort of, young, entitled people who want too much too soon. They've got to ignore all of that and want too much too soon. I really encourage young people to demand as much as they possibly can, to strive for promotion, to strive for the top, and to try and get there as quickly as they possibly can. And I think also to then fight for the world that they are inheriting and the values of that world and all the standards. If they believe in things, if they believe in equality and human rights and all those sorts of things, they can't take any of it for granted, because blink and it can all change. And so I kind of really encourage young people to keep fighting for the kind of world you want. I don't mean literally fighting necessarily, but I mean arguing for it, bearing it in mind, keeping those standards in mind with everything you do.